Welcome to the AWS Certified Data Engineer and Machine Learning course. Do you want to pass your AWS certification easily on the very first attempt this year? These questions come with full explanations, which will help you get your certification on the first try. Please leave suggestions in the comment section to improve, so we can make better videos for you. To learn quickly, you should watch this video a few times, and take notes along the way. We will go over the best information, so you can understand data engineering and machine learning well. Section 1. Let us start Section 1, where we talk about AWS data storage, and how to manage it. Amazon S3 is a great service, where we can store any amount of data for a low cost. When you build a data lake, you will almost always use Amazon S3 as the main storage. It holds your photos, your videos, your text files, and any other data you want to save. Data lakes need a lot of space, and S3 gives you that space without costing too much. You can set up security rules on S3, so only the right people can see your files. To organize data, we use Amazon S3 buckets, which are like big folders for your cloud files. Inside these buckets, you can place objects, which is just another name for the files you upload. Amazon Athena lets us read these files, and run searches on them without moving them at all. You just write a simple search command, and Athena finds the information inside your S3 bucket quickly. Next, we should talk about Amazon Redshift, which is a powerful data warehouse for your large business. A data warehouse is a place where you keep clean data, so you can create business reports. Redshift uses special hardware to answer hard questions very fast, even when you have massive data tables. When you move data from S3 to Redshift, you usually need to clean it up a bit. This cleaning process is called ETL, which stands for Extract, Transform, and Load in the data world. AWS Glue is the best tool for this job, because it does the heavy lifting for you. AWS Glue takes raw data, fixes all the errors, and moves it to a nice new place. It also has a data catalog, which acts like a big dictionary for all your business data. The data catalog remembers where everything is saved, so your other AWS tools can find it easily. Sometimes, we need to process data right away, like when tracking cars moving on a city map. For fast data that never stops arriving, we use a service called Amazon Kinesis to read it. Amazon Kinesis collects a huge stream of data and passes it to your applications in real time. You can use Kinesis data streams to capture website clicks or logs from thousands of different computers. Kinesis Data Firehose can take this fast data and save it directly into Amazon S3 for you. Now, let us talk about machine learning and how AWS makes it easy for us to use. Amazon SageMaker is the main tool you will use to build, train, and run machine learning models. A model is just a computer program, which learns from old data to predict new future events. To train a model, you feed it lots of examples, so it can find hidden patterns inside. SageMaker provides ready-to-use tools, so you do not have to build everything from the ground. You can use SageMaker Studio, which is a single place on your screen to manage everything together. Inside SageMaker Studio, you can write Python code and test your new ideas very fast and easily. Data engineers and machine learning experts work together, because models always need lots of high-quality data. If you feed bad data to a model, you will only get bad predictions from that model. That is why AWS Glue is so helpful, because it makes sure the data is very clean. When building models, we always divide our data into two parts, so we can test it well. Train, test. We need to fix, repeat, until the model gives us the very best possible answers. Security is a big deal in AWS, and you must always protect your private data from hackers. AWS Key Management Service lets you lock your files, using special keys that only you can control. If someone steals your hard drive, they cannot read the files, because they do not have keys. You manage user access with AWS IAM, which decides who is allowed to do what inside AWS. IAM stands for Identity and Access Management, and you will use it every single day at work. You create an IAM role, and give it permissions, so a service can talk to another service. For example, AWS Glue needs an IAM role, so it is allowed to read your S3 bucket. Another important tool is Amazon CloudWatch, which helps you keep an eye on all your running systems. CloudWatch collects logs and metrics, so you can see if your machine learning model is working right. If an error happens, CloudWatch will sound an alarm and send a message to your mobile phone. We also use AWS Lake Formation, which helps us build a secure data lake in few days. Lake Formation manages all the complex security rules, so you can share data safely across your company. It connects deeply with AWS Glue, and uses the data catalog to track your tables and columns. Machine learning models need to be updated often, because the real world keeps changing all the time. We use MLOP's practices, which means mixing machine learning with good software rules to avoid bad mistakes. SageMaker pipelines help you build automated steps, so your models train and update themselves without human help. We must monitor our models after they launch, to ensure their answers do not slowly become wrong. This first section covered the basics, and now we will move to the test questions and answers. As you study for this exam, you will notice how AWS connects all these helpful services together. You might start a project using Kinesis to capture fast data from a new mobile application. Then, that live data flows into Amazon S3, where it waits for the next processing step. AWS Glue wakes up on a schedule and transforms the raw information into a clean format. After cleaning, the data moves directly into Amazon Redshift, so business leaders can review their daily sales. Meanwhile, your machine learning team uses the exact same clean data to build smart predictive models. They load it into Amazon SageMaker and start teaching the computer how to guess future trends. This connected workflow is exactly what companies build, and what you will be tested on soon. You need to understand which tool fits best, depending on the size and speed of data. For small files, simple tools work, but massive data lakes always require powerful tools like Redshift. Do not worry if this feels heavy, because practicing real questions will make everything crystal clear. The exam loves to ask about choosing the cheapest option, or the fastest option for storage. Remember that S3 is usually the cheapest, while Redshift provides the fastest complex searches for business users. Also, keep security in mind, because AWS requires you to protect data using IAM and KMS keys. Now, let us officially move to the test questions, so you can start learning the real secrets. 1. What AWS service should you choose if you want to store a data lake cheaply? You must use Amazon S3, because it offers low-cost and highly secure object storage. Amazon S3 holds huge amounts of raw data, which is perfect for your cloud data lake. 2. How can you search for data inside an Amazon S3 bucket without moving the files? You can use Amazon Athena, which lets you run simple SQL queries on S3 files. Amazon Athena reads the files directly from storage, so you save time and avoid extra work. 3. Which AWS service should you use to build a fast and powerful business data warehouse? You should use Amazon Redshift, because it handles very complex queries on huge data tables. Redshift is designed for quick reporting, giving your company fast answers from massive amounts of clean data. 4. What tool is best for cleaning raw data and moving it to a new database? AWS Glue is the best choice because it performs all the complex ETL tasks for you. AWS Glue fixes broken data, transforms it into new formats, and loads it into your warehouse. 5. How do you keep track of where all your business data is saved in AWS? You use the AWS Glue data catalog, which acts like a large dictionary for your files. The data catalog stores table names and locations, helping other AWS services find your data quickly. 6. Which service allows you to capture fast streaming data, like constant website clicks in real time? Amazon Kinesis Data Streams is perfect because it catches live events right as they happen. Kinesis can handle millions of small messages every second, so your apps never miss any live actions. 7. What is the easiest way to save real-time streaming data straight into an S3 bucket? You should use Amazon Kinesis Data Firehose because it delivers live data directly into your storage. Firehose takes the fast stream, bundles the records together, and drops them safely into Amazon S3. 8. What primary AWS tool should you choose to build and train your machine learning computer models? Amazon SageMaker is the tool because it gives you everything needed to build smart predictive programs. SageMaker provides strong cloud computers and ready algorithms, so training your new model becomes very easy. 9. Why do data engineers and machine learning experts need to work together on cloud projects? They work together because machine learning models require massive amounts of highly clean data to learn. Engineers clean the raw data, and the experts use that clean data to train accurate models. 10. What happens if you train a machine learning model using bad or broken data files? The model will fail, because bad training data always leads to very bad future predictions. A model only knows what you teach it, so feeding it garbage will produce garbage results. 11. Why must we always split our machine learning data into training sets and testing sets? We split data so we can verify that the model actually learned, instead of just memorizing. The test set hides answers from the model, allowing us to check its true predicting power. 12. How can you protect your private data files stored inside your Amazon S3 cloud buckets? You can use AWS Key Management Service, which locks your files with secure secret encryption keys. Encryption scrambles your data completely, so hackers cannot read your files even if they steal them. 13. Which service controls exact user permissions, deciding who can view or edit your AWS cloud resources? You must use AWS IAM, because it handles all the access rules for your cloud workers. IAM creates specific rules and roles, ensuring that only approved users can touch your important projects. 14. How does AWS Glue get the proper permission to read files inside your secure S3 bucket? You assign an IAM role to AWS Glue, which safely grants it the right to read. Services need permission just like human users, and roles allow them to share data very safely. 15. What tool should you use to watch your machine learning models and catch sudden system errors? Amazon CloudWatch is best, because it monitors your active models and sends quick alarms during failures. CloudWatch collects operational numbers and error logs, helping you fix broken applications before customers notice problems. 16. Which AWS service helps you set up a highly secure data lake in just a few days? AWS Lake Formation is the correct tool, because it builds and secures your data lake quickly. It creates fine access controls, allowing different company teams to share large datasets safely and easily. 17. Why do we need to update our active machine learning models on a regular time schedule? We update them because real-world facts change, causing older models to make wrong future guesses. As shopping trends or user habits shift, your model must learn these new patterns to stay smart. 18. What feature inside Amazon SageMaker helps you automate the entire process of updating your old models? SageMaker pipelines automate things, because they connect training and testing steps without needing any human touch. Pipelines follow strict MLOP's rules, ensuring your cloud models always remain accurate, healthy, and highly useful. 19. What happens if you check the model drift metric and it shows a very high warning number? You must retrain it, because high drift means the model answers are getting worse over time. Drift monitoring compares new live data against old training data, telling you exactly when to act. Please check the video description below, so you can get the full course and keep learning. Do you want to master the hardest parts of data processing and pass your exam this year? These questions come with full explanations, which will help you get your certification on the first try. Please leave suggestions in the comment section to improve, so we can make better videos for you. You should watch this part twice, to make sure you remember the most important cloud processing tools. Section 2. In Section 2, we will talk about how to process data using AWS Glue and EMR today. You need to know how to transform raw data into a clean format for your business reports, easily. AWS Glue is a serverless tool, which means you do not have to manage any cloud servers yourself. It uses Spark jobs to move data around, making it very fast for large amounts of information. You can use the Glue visual editor to build your data pipelines without writing any complex code. Another powerful tool is Amazon EMR, which stands for Elastic MapReduce, for your big data needs. EMR is great when you need to use open source tools like Hadoop or Spark very quickly. It allows you to scale your computer clusters up or down, based on how much work you have. You should use EMR when you need full control over the settings of your big data clusters. Amazon Athena is very helpful, because it lets you query data in S3 using simple SQL commands. You only pay for the amount of data that Athena scans during your search, saving you money. To make Athena faster, you should save your files in a format like Parquet or Orc daily. These formats are columnar, which means Athena only reads the specific columns you need for your report. We must also discuss Amazon Redshift, which stores your clean data for deep business analysis and charts. Redshift uses a leader node to manage queries, and compute nodes to do heavy lifting work. You can use Redshift Spectrum to query data directly from your S3 buckets without loading it first. This is very useful when you have petabytes of data that you don't want to move. AWS Lake Formation helps you manage security for all these different services in one single central place. It simplifies the process of giving permissions, so users can only see the data they actually need. You can set rules at the column level, which keeps sensitive information hidden from the wrong people. AWS Glue crawlers are used to scan your data and create table definitions in the data catalog. They automatically find the schema of your files, which saves you a lot of manual typing and work. You should run these crawlers whenever you add new data files to your Amazon S3 storage buckets. Partitioning your data is another great way to make your queries run much faster and cost less money. You can group your data by year, month, or day, so the system reads only relevant files. This helps services like Athena and Glue to skip over millions of files that you don't need. AWS step functions help you coordinate multiple AWS services into a single, organized workflow for your data. You can link your Glue jobs and Lambda functions together to ensure they run in the right order. If a job fails, step functions can automatically try to run the step again to fix the error. Amazon MSK is another service you might see on the exam, which stands for Managed Streaming for Kafka. It is a fully managed service that makes it easy for you to build and run Kafka applications. Kafka is used for high-throughput data pipelines, which need to process millions of events every single minute. When you work with very large datasets, you should consider using Amazon Redshift serverless for your work. This version of Redshift automatically scales your resources up and down, based on how much work you do. You do not have to manage clusters, and you only pay for the compute time you actually use. AWS Data Exchange makes it easy for you to find and use data from third-party providers, safely. You can subscribe to data sets like weather reports or financial news, and use them in your models. This data is delivered directly to your S3 bucket, so you can start working on it right away. 20. What is the main benefit of using AWS Glue for your company's data transformation needs? It is a serverless service, so you do not have to manage or scale any cloud servers. Glue handles the infrastructure for you, allowing you to focus only on writing your data processing code. 21. When should you choose Amazon EMR instead of using the AWS Glue service for processing? Choose EMR when you need complete control over the configuration of your big data cluster nodes. EMR lets you customize the operating system and software versions, which AWS Glue does not allow you to do. 22. How does using a columnar storage format like Parquet help you save money in Amazon Athena? Athena charges you by the amount of data scanned, and columnar formats reduce the total data read. Since Athena only reads the columns needed for your query, it processes less data and reduces your bill. 23. What is the purpose of the leader node inside an Amazon Redshift data warehouse cluster? The leader node receives queries from your applications and creates applet for the compute nodes. It coordinates the work and sends back the final results, while compute nodes handle the actual data processing. 24. How can you query data stored in S3 using Redshift without loading it into a table? You can use Redshift Spectrum to run queries directly against your files stored in Amazon S3. This allows you to join data in your warehouse with huge data sets in your S3 data lake easily. 25. What does an AWS Glue crawler do when it scans a new folder in your S3 bucket? It identifies the file format and schema, then creates a metadata table in the data catalog. This makes the data searchable and ready for use by other services like Athena or Amazon Redshift. 26. Why should you partition your data by date when storing it in an Amazon S3 bucket? Partitioning allows your queries to skip unnecessary files, which makes the search much faster and cheaper. By looking only at the folder for a specific date, the service scans much less data than before. 27. What is the best way to coordinate a multi-step data pipeline involving Lambda and Glue? You should use AWS step functions to build a workflow that manages each step in order. Step functions handle errors and retries, making sure your entire data process finishes successfully every single time. 28. Which service is best for running managed Apache Kafka clusters for real-time data processing tasks? Amazon MSK is the correct choice, as it manages the setup and maintenance of Kafka clusters. It provides a secure and highly available environment, so you can focus on building your streaming applications. 29. How does Amazon Redshift Serverless help you manage costs for unpredictable data workloads during the day? It scales your compute resources automatically and you only pay for the seconds that you use. This removes the need to pay for a cluster that is sitting idle when no one is working. 30. What can you do with AWS Data Exchange to improve your machine learning model's accuracy? You can easily find and subscribe to third-party datasets to add more features to models. Adding external data like weather or economic trends helps your model understand the world much better than before. 31. Which tool provides a visual interface for creating AWS Glue jobs without writing any Python code? AWS Glue Studio is the visual tool that lets you design data moves with a simple interface. You can drag and drop different boxes to define your data sources, transformations, and final storage targets. 32. What is the main reason to use AWS Lake Formation when building a large data lake? It provides a central place to manage complex security permissions for all your data lake users. Lake Formation allows you to grant access to specific rows and columns, keeping your sensitive data very safe. 33. How does Amazon Athena handle query results so you can view them or use them later? Athena automatically saves every query result as a file inside a specific Amazon S3 bucket you choose. This allows you to download the results or connect them to a business tool like Amazon QuickSight. 34. What should you do if your AWS Glue job is running very slowly on massive datasets? You should increase the number of data processing units, also known as DPUs, for that job. Adding more DPUs gives the job more memory and CPU power to process the large files much faster. 35. Which service would you use to move data from a local database into Amazon Redshift? AWS Database Migration Service, or DMS, is the best tool for moving data into the cloud. DMS can keep the data synchronized, ensuring your cloud warehouse always has the latest information from your office. 36. Why is the AWS Glue data catalog important for your machine learning and data teams? It acts as a single source of truth for the location and structure of all data. Both teams can use the catalog to quickly find the datasets they need for analysis or training. 37. What is the advantage of using Amazon EMR serverless for your big data processing jobs? You do not have to manage the underlying cluster, and it scales resources automatically for you. This simplifies your work because you only need to submit your Spark or Hive jobs to the service. 38. How can you ensure that your data transformations are consistent across different environments like test and production? You should use AWS Glue blueprints to create repeatable templates for all your data integration workflows. Blueprints help you standardize how data is processed, reducing the chance of human error during the setup. Please check the video description below. so you can get the full course and keep learning. Do you want to understand how to handle massive amounts of data without losing any speed or money? These questions come with full explanations, which will help you get your certification on the first try. Please leave suggestions in the comment section to improve, so we can make better videos for you. You should follow along closely, because this section covers the most critical parts of the 2026 exam. Section 3. In Section 3, we will focus on data security and how to keep your cloud information safe. You must know how to encrypt your data so that unauthorized people cannot read your private files. AWS Identity and Access Management, also called IAM, is the first line of defense for your cloud account. You should always use the principle of least privilege, which means giving users only the access they need. For example, a data scientist might need to read data, but they should not be allowed to delete it. You can use IAM policies to define these rules and attach them to users or groups easily. Encryption is another huge topic, and you can choose between server-side encryption and client-side encryption for your data. With server-side encryption, AWS handles the locking and unlocking of your files inside the S3 storage service. You can use keys from the AWS Key Management Service, or KMS, to manage this process very securely. KMS allows you to create, rotate, and disable keys, giving you full control over your data protection. If you work in a highly regulated industry, you might need to use a cloud HSM for your keys. A cloud HSM is a physical hardware device that keeps your encryption keys completely separate from other cloud users. We also need to protect data as it moves across the internet, which we call encryption in transit. You should use SSL or TLS certificates to ensure that your data is safe while traveling to AWS. Amazon Macie is a great tool that uses machine learning to find sensitive data like credit card numbers. It scans your S3 buckets automatically and alerts you if it finds any personal information that is not protected. This helps you follow privacy laws and prevents accidental data leaks from your company to the public. You should also learn about VPC endpoints, which allow your data to stay inside the private AWS network. By using an interface endpoint, your traffic never goes over the open internet, making it much more secure. AWS Private Link is the technology that powers these endpoints, providing a private connection between your VPC and services. For monitoring your security, you can use AWS CloudTrail to record every single action taken in your account. CloudTrail shows you who accessed which data and when, which is very helpful for passing your security audits. If someone tries to delete a database, CloudTrail will have a record of exactly who performed that action. You can also use Amazon GuardDuty, which is a smart threat detection service for your entire AWS environment. GuardDuty looks for suspicious activity, like a computer trying to communicate with a known hacker site or server. It uses machine learning to learn what is normal for your account and flags anything that looks strange. Another important service is AWS Secrets Manager, which helps you protect your database passwords and API keys. Instead of writing passwords in your code, you store them in Secrets Manager and retrieve them safely. It can even rotate your passwords automatically, so they change every few weeks without you doing any work. This keeps your system very secure, even if someone manages to say a small part of your code. Finally, you should understand how to use AWS WAF, which stands for Web Application Firewall, for your apps. WAF protects your web applications from common attacks, like SQL injection or cross-site scripting from bad actors. You can set up rules to block traffic from specific countries, or limit how many requests a user can make. 39. What is the main goal of the principle of least privilege in your AWS account? You give users only the minimum permissions they need to perform their specific job duties. This prevents accidental damage or data theft, because users cannot access parts of the system they do not need. 40. How does Amazon Macie help you manage security for your large Amazon S3 data lake? It uses machine learning to automatically discover and protect sensitive personal information in your S3 buckets. Macie finds things like social security numbers or addresses, and alerts you if they are left in an unencrypted state. 41. What is the difference between a KMS key and a Cloud HSM hardware device for encryption? KMS is a shared software service, while Cloud HSM is a dedicated physical hardware device for your keys. Cloud HSM gives you the highest level of control and security, which is often required for government or banking projects. 42. Why should you use a VPC gateway endpoint when your Glue job needs to access S3? It allows your data to travel over a private connection, without ever touching the public internet. This improves security and performance, because your traffic stays completely inside the private and fast AWS network backbone. 43. What information can you find inside an AWS CloudTrail log after a security event occurs? CloudTrail shows you exactly who made a request, the time of the request, and the specific action. It provides a complete history of all API calls, which is essential for investigating security breaches and passing audits. 44. How does Amazon GuardDuty protect your machine learning environment from modern cyber attacks? It monitors your account for malicious activity and unauthorized behavior using smart machine learning models. GuardDuty can detect if your servers are being used to mine Bitcoin or if someone is trying to steal data. 45. Why is it a bad idea to hardcode your database passwords directly into your Spark code? Hard-coded passwords can be seen by anyone with access to the code, leading to a major security risk. If your code is leaked or shared, hackers can easily find your password and steal all your business data. 46. What is the best way to manage and rotate your database passwords automatically in the cloud? You should use AWS Secrets Manager, because it stores secrets safely and changes them on a schedule. It removes the need for humans to handle passwords, which makes your entire system much harder for hackers to break. 47. What does the AWS Web Application Firewall, or WAF, do to protect your public-facing websites? It filters incoming web traffic to block common attacks like SQL injection and malicious bot activity. WAF acts as a shield for your site, allowing good users in while keeping bad or suspicious traffic away. 48. When should you choose client-side encryption instead of letting AWS handle server-side encryption? Use client-side encryption when you want to encrypt data on your own computer before uploading it. This ensures that AWS never sees your unencrypted data, giving you total control over the security of your files. 49. How can you use IAM roles to let an Amazon EC2 instance access an S3 bucket safely? You attach an IAM role to the instance, which provides temporary security credentials for the access. Using roles is much safer than using permanent access keys, which can be stolen and used by unauthorized people. 50. What is a KMS key policy, and why is it important for your data engineers? A key policy is a document that defines who is allowed to use a specific encryption key. Even if a user has S3 permissions, they cannot read encrypted files unless the key policy also allows them. 51. How does AWS Private Link help you connect to services in other AWS accounts securely? It creates a private connection between your VPC and the service, keeping traffic off the public internet. Private Link is useful for sharing data with partners or other teams without exposing your internal network to the world. 52. What should you do if you accidentally share your AWS access keys on a public website? You must immediately deactivate the keys in IAM and create new ones to prevent unauthorized account access. Hackers scan public sites for keys, and they can use them to run expensive services in your account very quickly. 53. Which tool helps you check if your S3 buckets are accidentally set to be publicly accessible? AWS IAM Access Analyzer helps you identify resources that are shared with people outside your AWS account. It alerts you if a bucket or folder is open to the public, so you can fix the error quickly. 54. Why should you enable multi-factor authentication, or MFA, for your main AWS root user account? MFA adds an extra layer of security, requiring a code from your Fineto log into the account. This makes it much harder for a hacker to take over your account, even if they know your main password. 55. How can you restrict access to a specific S3 bucket based on the user's IP address? You can write an S3 bucket policy that only allows requests coming from your company's official IP range. This ensures that only employees working from your office or VPN can see the sensitive data inside the bucket. 56. What does the term encryption at rest mean for your databases and your file storage? It means that your data is encrypted while it is physically sitting on a hard drive or disk. If someone steals the physical disk from the data center, they still cannot read any of the stored information. 57. How do you use AWS Artifact to help your company prove it follows international security standards? Artifact provides on-demand access to AWS security and compliance reports, such as ISO and SOC certificates. You can download these official documents to show auditors that the AWS infrastructure meets all the necessary legal requirements. Please check the video description below, so you can get the full course and keep learning. Please leave suggestions in the comment section to improve, so we can make better videos for you. This section is all about the data science part of the exam, which is very exciting. Section 4. In Section 4, we will explore how to prepare data for training machine learning models on AWS. Before a model can learn, you must clean the data and turn it into numbers that computers understand. This process is often called feature engineering, and it is a very important step for every data scientist. You might have missing values in your data, like a customer who forgot to list their age. You can use Amazon SageMaker Data Wrangler to find these gaps and fill them in automatically. Data Wrangler allows you to see your data visually, so you can spot errors without writing any code. Sometimes your data has different scales, like house prices in millions and number of rooms in small units. You must normalize or scale these numbers, so the model does not think the big numbers are more important. Amazon SageMaker Clarify is another tool that helps you detect bias in your data before you start training. Bias happens when your data is unfair, like having too many examples of one group and none of another. If your data is biased, your model will make unfair or wrong decisions when it goes live. We also use ground truth to label our data, which means telling the computer the correct answer. Amazon SageMaker Ground Truth helps you manage a team of humans who label images or text for you. Once your data is ready, you need to choose the right algorithm for the job you want. If you want to predict a number, like a stock price, you use a regression algorithm. If you want to put things into groups, like spam or not spam, you use a classification algorithm. Amazon SageMaker has many built-in algorithms that are already tuned to run very fast on the AWS cloud. You can also use SageMaker Autopilot, which tries many different models to find the best one for you. Autopilot is great for beginners, because it does the hard work of picking the best settings automatically. While the model trains, it uses something called hyperparameters to control how it learns from the data. You can think of hyperparameters like the knobs on a radio that you turn to get a clear signal. SageMaker automatic model tuning can turn these knobs for you to find the most accurate model possible. This saves you a lot of time, because you do not have to guess which settings are the best. After training, you must evaluate your model using a confusion matrix or an accuracy score. A confusion matrix shows you exactly where the model got confused and made a wrong guess or prediction. It helps you see if your model is good at finding spam, but accidentally blocks good emails too. If the model is not good enough, you go back to the start and fix your data. Train, test, we need to fix, repeat, is the cycle we follow to get the best machine learning results. Once the model is perfect, you deploy it to an endpoint so your apps can start using it. An endpoint is like a private web address that your application calls to get a quick prediction. 58. What is the main goal of feature engineering when you are preparing data for a model? You transform raw data into a better format that helps the machine learning model learn more easily. This might include turning text into numbers or combining two columns into one new and more useful column. 59. How does Amazon SageMaker Data Wrangler save time for a busy data engineer or scientist? It provides a visual interface to clean and transform data without requiring you to write any code. You can quickly see data distributions and apply over 300 built-in transforms with just a few simple clicks. 60. Why should you normalize your numerical data before feeding it into a machine learning algorithm? Normalization ensures that all your data features are on the same scale so no single feature dominates. This helps the model learn faster and prevents large numbers from confusing the math behind the learning process. 61. What does Amazon SageMaker Clarify do to help make your machine learning models more fair? It detects potential bias in your datasets and your trained models to ensure fair and equal treatment. Clarify alerts you if your model is favoring one group over another, which helps you build more ethical AI. 62. When should you use Amazon SageMaker Ground Truth for your machine learning project? Use it when you have a lot of raw data that needs to be labeled by humans. It manages workers who identify objects in pictures or sentiment in text, creating the correct answers for training. 63. Which type of algorithm would you choose if you want to predict the future price of gold? You should choose a regression algorithm, because you are trying to predict a specific and continuous numerical value. Regression is used for forecasting numbers, while classification is used for choosing between different categories or distinct labels. 64. What is the difference between a classification algorithm and a clustering algorithm in machine learning? Classification uses labeled data to predict groups, while clustering finds hidden groups in data that has no labels. Use classification to identify types of flowers, but use clustering to find new types of customer shopping habits. 65. How does SageMaker Autopilot help a developer who is new to the world of machine learning? It automatically explores your data and picks the best algorithm and settings to create a high-quality model. You just provide the data, and Autopilot does the heavy lifting of training and tuning many different models. 66. What are hyperparameters, and why are they important during the training phase of a model? Hyperparameters are the external settings that control the learning process and cannot be learned from the data. Adjusting these settings can make a huge difference in how fast the model learns and how accurate it becomes. 67. What happens during the automatic model tuning process inside the Amazon SageMaker service? SageMaker runs many training jobs with different hyperparameter settings to find the one that performs the best. It uses a smart search method to find the perfect settings much faster than a human could by guessing. 68. Why do we use a confusion matrix to check the performance of a classification model? It shows a detailed breakdown of correct and incorrect predictions for every single category in your model. This helps you see if the model is frequently mistaking one specific group for another, so you can fix it. 69. What is overfitting, and why is it a bad thing for your machine learning model? Overfitting happens when a model learns the training data too well and fails to predict new data correctly. The model memorizes the noise in the old data instead of learning the actual patterns that apply to the future. 70. How can you provide a real-time prediction to a mobile app using a trained SageMaker model? You deploy your model to a SageMaker endpoint, which stays active and ready to answer requests instantly. The app sends data to the endpoint, and the model sends back a prediction in a fraction of a second. 71. What is the benefit of using batch transform instead of a real-time endpoint for predictions? Batch transform is better for processing huge amounts of data at once when you do not need instant answers. You can run it on a schedule to get predictions for millions of records, which is often much cheaper. 72. Why should you use Amazon SageMaker Feature Store in a large company with many teams? It allows teams to store, share, and reuse the same cleaned data features across many different models. This prevents people from doing the same cleaning work twice and ensures everyone uses the same high-quality data. 73. What is a target variable in a dataset used for supervised machine learning training? The target variable is the specific value or label that you want your model to learn to predict. If you are predicting weather, temperature would be your target variable while humidity and wind are your features. 74. How does Amazon SageMaker Inference Recommender help you save money when deploying your models? It tests your model on different cloud server types to find the cheapest one that still performs well. This removes the guesswork of picking a server size, ensuring you do not pay for more power than needed. 75. What is the role of a kernel when you are working inside an Amazon SageMaker Studio notebook? The kernel is the engine that actually runs your Python code and manages the computer memory for you. You can switch kernels to use different versions of software or different programming languages for your data science work. 76. Why is it important to shuffle your data before you start the training process for your model? Shuffling prevents the model from learning a wrong pattern based only on the order of the data records. If all the spam emails are at the top, the model might get confused and not learn the features correctly. Please check the video description below, so you can get the full course and keep learning. Section 5. In Section 5, we will talk about how to manage your models after they are finished and deployed. Once a model is out in the world, the work does not stop, because things change fast. You need to watch your model every day to make sure it is still making good and smart guesses. Amazon SageMaker Model Monitor is the tool that watches your live models to find any new problems. It looks for something called data drift, which happens when the new data looks different from the training data. If people start buying different things, your old model might get confused and start giving the wrong answers. Model Monitor sends you an alert, so you know it is time to retrain your model with new data. We also use SageMaker pipelines to make the whole process of updating models much more simple and fast. A pipeline is like a set of instructions that tells AWS how to move data and train models automatically. You can set it up so that every time you get new data, the pipeline starts a new training job. This is part of MLOps, which means using good engineering rules to make machine learning very reliable and safe. You should also use the SageMaker model registry to keep track of all the different versions of your models. It works like a catalog, where you can see which model is the best and which one is currently live. You can approve or reject a model version, so bad models never reach your customers by accident or mistake. When you want to update a live model, you can use a deployment strategy called A/B testing. In A/B testing, you send some customers to the old model and some to the new model to compare. If the new model performs better, you can slowly move all your customers over to the new version. This helps you avoid big mistakes that could hurt your business or frustrate your many loyal app users. You should also think about the cost of running your models, especially if you have a lot of traffic. Amazon SageMaker Serverless Inference is a great way to save money if your app is not used constantly. You only pay when the model is actually running a prediction, so you do not pay for idle time. If your model needs a lot of power for a very short time, you can use Inference Recommender. It helps you pick the right instance size, so you do not waste money on a computer that is too big. Monitoring also includes checking for bias while the model is live, using the SageMaker Clarify tool we discussed before. If the model starts being unfair to a certain group of people, Clarify will let you know right away. Keeping your models healthy requires constant attention, but AWS tools make this job much easier for your team. Train, test, we need to fix, repeat, is the cycle that keeps your machine learning systems running perfectly. 77. What is data drift, and why is it a problem for a model that is already live? Data drift is when the live data changes so much that the model's old training is no longer useful. If the world changes but the model stays the same, its predictions will become very inaccurate and lose value. 78. How does Amazon SageMaker Model Monitor help you maintain the high quality of your active models? It automatically checks your live predictions and alerts you if the data or the model's accuracy starts to drop. This allows you to catch problems early and fix them before they affect your customers or your business operations. 79. What is the main purpose of using SageMaker pipelines in a professional machine learning project today? Pipelines automate the steps of data prep, training, and deployment so you can update your models much faster. Automation reduces human error and ensures that every model is built using the exact same high-quality steps and rules. 80. Why should a data engineering team use the SageMaker model registry for their various model versions? It provides a central place to track, version, and approve models before they are allowed to go into production. This makes it easy to see the history of a model and ensures only the best versions are used by apps. 81. How does an A/B testing deployment strategy help you launch a new model version safely and securely? It lets you compare the new model against the old one by splitting your live traffic between them. You can prove the new model is better using real data before you fully replace the old and trusted version. 82. When is it better to use SageMaker serverless inference instead of a standard real-time endpoint for your app? It is better for apps with low or patchy traffic, because you only pay when the model is actually working. This saves you a lot of money, because you are not paying for a server to sit idle and wait. 83. What does SageMaker lineage tracking do to help you understand the history of your machine learning models? It keeps a record of all the data, code, and settings used to create every single version of a model. If a model starts acting strange, you can look at the lineage to see exactly what data was used to train it. 84. How can you use Amazon CloudWatch to help monitor the health of your SageMaker model endpoints? CloudWatch collects metrics like how long a prediction takes and how many errors are happening in the system. You can set alarms to text your phone if the model starts taking too long to answer or starts failing. 85. Why is it important to have a human in the loop step using SageMaker augmented AI for some model predictions? Some decisions are too important for a computer. So a human reviews the model's guess to ensure it is correct. This is useful for high-stakes areas like medical scans or legal documents where a mistake could be very serious. 86. What is model bias, and how does it differ from the data bias we find during the training phase? Model bias is when the model's logic is unfair, while data bias comes from the examples used to teach it. Both are bad, but monitoring for model bias ensures the system stays fair even as the real world changes. 87. How does SageMaker Edge Manager help you manage models that run on small devices like cameras or sensors? It optimizes and monitors models that are running directly on hardware outside of the standard AWS cloud servers. This allows you to update and check the health of models running on thousands of different smart devices at once. 88. What is the benefit of using a blue-green deployment when you are launching a major model update? It allows you to switch all traffic to a new version instantly, with the ability to switch back if errors occur. This minimizes downtime and provides a very safe way to move to a new system without risking a total failure. 89. Why should you monitor the latency of your machine learning model endpoint every single day? Latency measures how fast your model answers, and slow answer scan make your mobile app feel broken or sluggish. If latency goes up, you might need a bigger server or a more efficient model to keep your users happy. 90. How does SageMaker projects help a team of data scientists work together more effectively on the same task? Projects provide a template that sets up all the storage, pipelines, and code repositories for a new team automatically. This ensures everyone is following the same rules and uses the same tools from the very first day of work. 91. What is concept drift, and how is it different from the standard data drift we often see? Concept drift is when the meaning of the data changes, even if the data values themselves look mostly the same. For example, if cool used to mean cold but now means popular, a model might need to learn that new meaning. 92. Why would you use Amazon SageMaker debugger during the training phase of a very large model? It looks inside the training process to find problems like the model learning too slowly or getting stuck. Debugger saves you money by stopping a bad training job early, so you do not waste hours of computer time. 93. How does the shadow deployment strategy help you test a new model without the customers seeing it? The new model receives live data and makes guesses, but the results are only saved for you to review later. This is the safest way to test, because the new model's answers never actually reach the real customer or app. 94. What is a model card in Amazon SageMaker and why is it useful for your company's compliance? A model card is a document that records the purpose, risks, and performance scores of a machine learning model. It provides a clear and honest summary of what the model does, which is very important for legal and ethical reviews. 95. Why should you regularly perform load testing on your machine learning endpoints before a big sales event? Load testing ensures your model can handle thousands of users at the same time without crashing or slowing down. You want to know your limit before the busy day starts, so you can scale up your servers in advance. Please check the video description below, so you can get the full course and keep learning. Section 6. In Section 6, we will look at how to pick the right AWS service to solve specific business problems quickly. Sometimes you do not need to build a model from scratch, because AWS has pre-built AI services for you. For example, Amazon Rekognition can see and identify objects or faces in your photos and videos automatically. If you need to turn speech into text for a video, you should use Amazon Transcribe to do the work. To go the other way and turn text into a human voice, Amazon Polly is the best tool to use. Amazon Translate can change your text from one language to another in just a few seconds, which is amazing. All these services are ready to use, meaning you do not need to be a data scientist to use them. You just send your data to the service, and it gives you a smart answer back very fast. For business data, Amazon QuickSight is a great tool for building beautiful charts and dashboards for your boss. It connects to S3, Redshift, and Athena, so you can visualize your data and find hidden trends easily. QuickSight also has a feature called Q, which lets you ask questions about your data using plain English. You can type, "What were our sales in London last month?" and it will draw the chart for you. We must also focus on cost optimization, which means spending as little money as possible on the cloud. You should use Spot instances for your EMR clusters or SageMaker training jobs if you want to save up to 90%. Spot instances are spare computer power that AWS sells for a very cheap price when no one else is using it. The only catch is that AWS can take the power back if someone else pays the full price for it. For your S3 storage, you should use lifecycle policies to move old data to a cheaper storage class like S3 Glacier. Glacier is perfect for data you need to keep for legal reasons but almost never need to look at. By moving old files to Glacier, you can save a lot of money every month on your cloud bill. You can also use the AWS Cost Explorer to see exactly which service is costing you the most money. It helps you find zombie resources, which are services you started but forgot to turn off when you were finished. To keep your data engineering skills sharp, you should always stay curious about new tools and better ways to work. This 2026 update includes many automated features that make your life as a developer much easier than before. Remember the cycle: train, test, we need to fix, repeat, and you will be a cloud expert in no time. 96. Which pre-built AI service should you use to identify celebrities or objects inside your company's video files? You should use Amazon Rekognition, because it is specifically designed for high-quality image and video analysis tasks. It removes the need for you to build your own computer vision models, saving you months of difficult development work. 97. How can Amazon Transcribe help a company that has thousands of recorded customer service phone calls? It automatically converts the spoken audio into text files so you can search and analyze the conversations easily. Once the audio is text, you can use other tools to find out if customers are happy or angry. 98. What is the benefit of using Amazon Polly for your mobile application's user interface? Polly turns your written text into lifelike human speech, making your app more accessible for everyone to use. It supports many different languages and voices, allowing your app to talk to users in a very natural way. 99. When should you choose Amazon Comprehend instead of building a custom machine learning model for text? Use Comprehend when you need to find the sentimental key phrases in text documents very quickly. It is an out-of-the-box service that understands the meaning and feelings behind words without any custom training needed. 100. How does Amazon QuickSight help business leaders make better decisions using the data in your S3 data lake? It creates interactive dashboards and charts that make it easy to see patterns and trends in your data. Leaders can look at the visual reports to see what is working well and where the business needs to improve. 101. What is Amazon QuickSight Q, and how does it make data analysis easier for non-technical users? It allows users to ask questions in plain English and receive instant visual answers and data charts. You do not need to know how to write code or SQL to get answers from your complex business data. 102. Why are S3 lifecycle policies essential for managing the costs of a very large and growing data lake? They automatically move or delete your files based on their age, ensuring you never pay for unneeded storage. Moving files from S3 Standard to S3 Glacier can save you a huge amount of money as your data grows. 103. What is the main risk of using Amazon EC2 Spot instances for your machine learning training jobs? AWS can reclaim the instance at any time, which might stop your training job before it is finished. You should only use Spot instances for jobs that can be paused and restarted without losing all your hard work. 104. How can you use AWS Glue interactive sessions to save time during the data development process? They allow you to test and run your Spark code instantly without waiting for a whole cluster to start. This makes it much faster to find and fix errors in your code, which improves your daily productivity as a developer. 105. Which AWS service provides a simple way to search through all your company's internal documents and files? Amazon Kendra is an intelligent search service that uses machine learning to find answers in your private documents. Unlike a simple keyword search, Kendra understands the context of your question to find the most relevant and helpful answer. 106. How does the AWS